So hello everyone, this is Carlos again with Biassa. I'm talking from VTEX Day. And we're here at Ebanx, which is a Brazilian company that I'm really proud of. It's a Brazilian company that soon, or they're at least listed to be one of the next unicorns from Brazil. And what they're doing in one sentence is that they're helping merchants to go cross-border. So I'm here with Nicolas Ghitti, head of Inside Sales. And the reason why I wanted to have a chat with Nicolas today is to demystify the idea that, you know, coming to Brazil if you're somewhere else is very hard. So Nicolas, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here. So why don't we start with the big picture? You tell us who you are, and then eventually we get to talk about Ebanx and what you guys and how you guys are helping merchants go cross borders and sell more in Brazil and Latin America.
Okay, Carlos, so first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a great pleasure to talk to you. And I'm Nicolas Ghitti, also head of Inside Sales at Ebanx. And basically, Ebanx was born from a huge problem, a huge gap in the market that usually companies outside Latin America think that it's very hard to get into the Latin America market to actually expand their business into Latam. But actually, if this conversation happened a few years ago, that would be right, because we didn't have the technology or the right process to expand our business. It was very hard. But right now, the technology reached a stage to a point where it's easy to enable companies to expand to Latin America and to actually break those walls that we used to have here of bureaucracy, difficult laws, the language. And now this is so much easier with the technology we can provide. So basically what Ebanx did was to provide local payments, process local payments in Latin America for companies that are not here. So if I could give you an example, if I am an e-commerce in the United States and I would like to sell my products into Latin America, I don't need to have an entity in Brazil, for example, to use the local payment methods such as boleto. There is a cash payment very used here in Latin America.
I know you guys are working with some very, very large and known companies like in the music industry. Can we mention them?
Yes, of course.
Like Spotify.
Please mention them.
Yeah, you're working with Spotify. You're working with, Guilherme also.
AliExpress, Wish,
and so on.
Sony.
And really, I think it's really interesting. We had a very, very nice, conversation, because coming to Brazil and even Latin America has always been a hassle. I shared an experience, opening a company here, going through all the process, and that was a technology business. So that means that we didn't need any Anvisa license.
It shouldn't be so hard.
Exactly. So I think it's interesting if we could talk about all the existing problems first, and then how you guys are solving this problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. So if I get the big picture of Latin America today, and Brazil is in it, only 60% of the whole Latin America population have access to a bank account. So that means that almost half of the Latin America population doesn't even have a bank account or even a credit card. So when I'm thinking about opening a company or expanding my business to Latin America, yes, I have to understand the population, but also I'll have to go through a very hard and painful process of opening my company, understanding the laws, hiring lawyers, accountants to actually take care of my business. So when I'm ready to sell in Latin America, and imagine that I have an entity in Brazil and I'm start selling with local payment methods such as boleto, for example, there is a cash payment, and I have to collect the money in my company in Brazil, and when I try to send the money abroad to my company back in the US, I probably lose around 40% of that just for taxes. So it's not a healthy system to actually expand your business. But I still need the local payment methods to thrive here because of the population. They don't have access to a bank account, so they need cash payments. So with that in mind, the banks came along to actually provide the local payment solution without the need for you to have an entity here in Latin America.
Interesting. But when you say, and this is something interesting, when you say that a lot of people don't have a bank account, so they are relying on the boletos to use as if it was a bank account. So they go to the, lottery houses, pay their bills there, and so on and so forth. But in Brazil, our situation is a bit different, is it not?
Yeah, actually, your question is if we have a lot of unbanked population here in Brazil as well.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, maybe I didn't formulate it correctly, but in Brazil, I think we have more people with bank accounts when opposed to the rest of Latin America, right?
Yeah, we do, but it's not as much as you may think.
Okay.
Because when you look at the big picture, okay, 60% if I take the overall of Latin America countries, but in Brazil it's 70, which means that 30% of the population still doesn't have access to a bank account. And yes, they want to purchase, they have access to internet, so they want to purchase, they want to go online, buy products from other e-commerces or sites that are not actually Brazilian. They want to do that, they want to buy. But if you're only offering international credit cards, which means we will never access the full potentials of Latin America.
Very nice. Now, I think that when we were talking, you touched a very interesting point that there are restrictions when it comes to using your service because you have to be compliant.
Yeah.
Can you comment on those?
Sure, we do have a very deep compliance system which allows us to have a very healthy operation. And this is very important not only for Ebanx operation but also for our clients.
We've been trying to make this question a few times because we're having problem with the camera. But tell me about how is your compliance working, because there's several restrictions for you to be seen as a serious company, not working with certain products or industries. Can you comment on this?
Sure, and actually it's a very important subject for Ebanx. We do take compliance and risk policies very seriously. And basically, as we work with a lot of different countries and we process payments locally, we do have to keep an eye on everything that is happening inside which one of those countries. So every new law, every new policy, every new compliance process, we need to be aware of that and need to know how to handle it. And it's very interesting because there are a lot of products or business that we cannot work with, and not only because of the health of our operation, but also for the healthy and actually the success of our clients. If I could actually use a very silly example, but it works very well. When we are processing payments for Peru, we cannot process payments for companies that are shipping or selling yo-yos into the country. So this is a very specific law in Peru, and we know about that, and we don't process payments for companies that are selling yo-yos to Peru. So this is a very important part of our business, and this is what actually enables us to be very respected in the payments industry today.
Very nice. Well, I think your company is really interesting. It's a major pain. Like, I just brought a prospect here for you guys, and definitely he wants to expand to Brazil. So moving forward, what's next for Ebanx?
Well, actually, the next game for Ebanx is to actually close down the whole Latin America. So right now we are working with 7 different countries, and we want to reach 3 more up until the end of 2018. But the plan is to actually reach whole Latin America by the end of 2020, which means that we will be able to process payments in every country in Latin America up until the end of 2020.
Nicolas, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Valeu, queridos.